Hello and welcome back to DriveDriverDriven. I'm Humble and today we're back on the Zero project. Really hoping to get this polished up by the end of the year, which is way past when I wanted to get it done, but travel, work, weddings, all that stuff got in the way, so here we are. Now, where I left off on the Zero is I was having some issues with fueling. In particular, the fuel pumps that I was using were causing the fuel to break down, and that was just gumming up the works and preventing any fuel at all from reaching the injectors. Eventually what had happened is some of that crystallization and goo made its way into the injectors and just knocked those out of commission. We replaced the fuel pumps, we replaced the fuel injectors, and everything was hunky-dory for a while. Well, after months of traveling, guess what? The problem is back. Now, I already attacked the back of the car because I showed you what happened there, and the resolution was replacing the fuel filter that I was using. So I was using basically a screw-on XRP pre-filter, but the issue was it had a, I think it's stainless steel filter element, and that stainless steel is what's breaking down the alcohol in the gasoline. Every gas here has 10 or 15% ethanol, whatever that is, and it's causing that to break down into sugars. Well, we all know what happens when you put sugar in fuel, so that's just a bad scene altogether. So what I did is I pulled that element out and I replaced it with an Aeromotive, basically super overkill filter, but it uses an organic element instead of a stainless steel element. Hopefully that prevents the issues that we're seeing with the fuel breaking down. Now with the new filter, that's actually a 10 micron filter, and it's after the fuel pumps. New fuel pump in the rear. This is the replacement we had done before. Now switching to an after filter after the pump, which will bring fuel forward into the car. And doing some troubleshooting, I found out that the front fuel pump, our replacement fuel pump, died yet again. Looking up here in the front of the car, this is our sump tank, and it looks like the pump inside the sump tank is bad. I was using a power probe, and I disconnected everything and stuck it to there, and I thought it was freed up, so I reconnected the lines and tried to fire it up again, and that was not to be. So basically we have to pull off our pre-filter, pull the pump back out again, pull the whole assembly rather out again, and then change the fuel pump in there. So this time I've got a proper 044 Bosch pump. It's not a knockoff pump. And this one's actually, they've changed it so now it's working with alcohol fuels, at least as said by Pegasus Auto Racing, which is where I got this guy, and actually it's where I get a lot of parts for these cars. So let's get this thing torn apart yet again. We'll swap this pump in, and hopefully we'll get this motor fired by the end of this. Well, I've got it all apart. Got the new pump here and the old pump there, but there's that moment of disappointment when you realize that the new pump is not the same as the old pump. For whatever reason, the output is a slightly different size on this pump, and if I flip it over, the outputs are different sizes. This was a direct 044 Motorsport replacement. The 044 Motorsport pump that I pulled out was very similar in case design and dimensions to this, even though this is a fake one. I don't know what this is supposed to be, but it is not an 044 pump. So I may have to send this guy back because this is not what I ordered, which means I got to figure out some other solution to this mess, because I need to get this car running and I don't necessarily want to wait for another pump. So I'm half tempted to just join my return lines and then feed the motor directly and leave a bit of a spaghetti mess here just so I can get the car running to go and finish the registration process before the rainy season really gets underway. We've already had some rain, so as you can see, there's no weather kit on the car yet. So I need to try and do this while the weather is still in my favor. So what I might do is just have a bit of a spaghetti mess here temporarily while I get the car through the reg process, and then I'll deal with this kind of in the aftermath. I don't know, we'll figure it out, but for now, let's clean this mess up and then I'll see what I can do about that. All right, so it's not pretty, but it'll do. So what I've got here is, this is our return line. So actually, let's start with the feed side. So this is our feed side. Normally what this would do is feed that sump tank here, and then it's fuel into the sump tank. Then this pump would pick it up and spit it out of the top, which would then go to the other side of this line, which feeds our fuel rail, and then out of our fuel rail into our pressure regulator, which is down to here, and then this goes back to the back of the tank. Let's pull some of this down and out of the way. Luckily, I had inside this box here a number of -6 fittings and whatnot, so I was able to just find a couple of 90s that I could stuff in here temporarily. Let's see. That should be all good. Don't want to lose these. Just more hardware for the pump there. All right, so now I'm just going to try and prime it and then fire it. So a quick prime. All right, so you heard we got pressure. I don't see any leaks. Do it one more time. Nope, we are leak free. So let's try and fire it up. Hey, look at that. That's that big cam for you. So for now, this will do. This will get me through the registration process, and then we can get all this mess sorted out. But I'm gonna let this warm up, let it heat cycle. It's been like I said, a number of months since it's actually ran, so a heat cycle would do it good. Alternator looks good, fuel tank is full, water's cold of course. We have good oil pressure, but our oil temp gauge is not working, and I still have yet to figure that out. But as long as I have oil temp and water temp, generally oil will fall somewhere in line with those. I think I know what the issue is here. I think the sensor is not grounded, or it's not grounded properly to give a good clean signal. So I just got to chase that down still. But TAC is working. Haven't driven it anywhere, so odometer's still at 1 mile. But yeah, other than that, looking pretty good. So short and sweet today. That was really the main thing that I wanted to do, is to get the Zero running again. As I said, I'm kind of in the middle of the registration process, so what I have to do next is to go through the brake and lamp inspection and get a proper alignment on it. And then I need to go back to the DMV for my temporary move permit. Once I have that in hand, I can set it up for a ref inspection, and that'll finish out the reg. So stay tuned for the rest of that process. Hoping to knock it out, well, at least the stuff that I can handle within the next week or so. The the ref inspection is going to take a little bit of time usually, because that's scheduled out, but as everything is already done on the car, I'm not expecting any holdups there. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.